As Russian missiles continue to pound Ukrainian cities, the Ukrainians are using drones to target Russian missile launchers. Ukraine has struck airbases inside Russia that service missile-armed bombers. It has also hit bases on the Crimean Peninsula that support the Black Sea Fleet and its missile-equipped warships. Ukraine's strategy is spurred by desperation. While its air defenses have been successful, they can't destroy every incoming cruise and ballistic missile, let alone high-speed hypersonic weapons. Indeed, not even Israel's vaunted Iron Dome, which Kyiv has requested, can destroy more than a fraction of incoming rockets. Compounding the problem is that Ukraine may be close to running out of anti-aircraft missiles and shells. Whether it's cruise missiles or ICBMs, it's much easier to destroy the missiles, their launchers, and their supply depots on the ground than it is to intercept them in flight. Attacking those launchers is a more efficient way to deal with the problem. Dara Masakot, an expert on the Russian military at the RAND Corporation think tank, said on an April episode of the Geopolitics Decanted podcast. Ukraine's strikes are hitting bases and hubs that may disrupt Russia's ability to launch missiles, whether it be from bombers flying along the Russia-Ukraine border or from the ships of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which continue to launch Caliber cruise missiles at targets in Ukraine. The Black Sea Fleet has been reinforced by ships from Russia's Caspian flotilla, which arrived through a canal connecting the seas. Since Russia's invasion in February 2022, its warships from elsewhere, such as the Northern Fleet, have been unable to enter the Black Sea due to Turkey's invocation of the Montreux Convention, which bars warships from transiting the Turkish Straits between the Mediterranean and Black Seas. The Black Sea Fleet is a major choke point, Masakot said, and if Russian ships there are disabled or neutralized in some way where they can no longer launch calibers, Russia cannot bring in additional naval assets. Though the Black Sea Fleet has been able to blockade Ukrainian ports, Ukraine has scored significant victories against it. The cruiser Moskva, the fleet's flagship, was sunk by Ukrainian land-based anti-ship missiles in April 2022. Ukraine has also hit port facilities that sustain the Black Sea Fleet. In April, Ukrainian drones set ablaze a major fuel depot at the big Crimean naval base of Sevastopol. After the Moskva was sunk, the frigate Admiral Makarov became the fleet's flagship. In October, it was damaged by unmanned Ukrainian kamikaze boats, a novel form of attack that caused limited damage but still required Russia to respond to a new threat. Airbases inside Russia have also been attacked. In December, Ukrainian drones blasted 2 air bases east of Moscow, hundreds of miles from the Ukrainian border. The strikes, while limited, were especially significant because the bases housed 2 160s and 2 95s, Russia's nuclear-capable long-range bombers. Ukraine has also used a variety of weapons, from Soviet-era drones to US-made HIMARS guided rockets, in strikes on Russian ammunition supplies. There have been attacks on different routes to deliver munitions to the frontline, Masakot said. Ukraine is waging a textbook example of asymmetric warfare. Though weaker than Russia in numbers, it is using innovative techniques, such as homemade drones, to even the balance. But Russia is adapting. Ammunition depots once carelessly placed close to the front lines have been moved out of range of Ukrainian artillery. Aircraft have also been relocated. They have a lot of air bases, and they're pulling some of these assets back, Masakot said. The price of these countermeasures is inefficiency in delivering supplies. By forcing Russia to make that change, Ukraine's strategy can be deemed a success, but those benefits won't last forever. The Russians learned from those experiences, Masakot added. Perhaps a little slowly, but they eventually learn. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on May 5 that Russia had lost 193,210 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 620 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day. Battle for Bakhmut. Ukraine claims advantage as military forces say they seriously damaged Russian brigade. Ukraine has claimed an advantage in the battle for the eastern city of Bakhmut, with military forces saying they have seriously damaged a Russian brigade. 2 companies of Russia's 72nd Separate Motor Rifle Brigade near Bakhmut are reported to have taken a significant hit. Ukraine's military said the situation in Bakhmut remained difficult, but that Moscow was increasingly being forced to use regular army forces because of heavy losses among the Wagner mercenary group. Serhiy Cherevati, spokesperson for Ukrainian troops in the east, said, "Unfortunately they have not destroyed the whole Russian brigade yet, 2 companies have been seriously damaged there." Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner group, has repeatedly claimed Moscow has failed to support his group's conflict in Bakhmut by failing to provide enough ammunition. Many governments, including the UK, are considering imposing further sanctions on the Wagner group, including formally classifying it as a terrorist organization as a way of increasing pressure on Russia. The Home Office has been building a case against the group for 2 months and proscription was due within weeks, the Times newspaper reported, citing a government source. The government has declined to comment on its plans. Amid news of Ukraine's advances in Bakhmut came reports of the death of Agence France Presse (AFP) journalist Armin Soldan. The 32-year-old was working as the Ukraine video coordinator when he was killed in a rocket attack near Bakhmut on Tuesday. He was with a team of AFP journalists traveling with Ukrainian soldiers when the group came under fire. Max Blaine, spokesman for Rishi Sunak, paid tribute to Mr. Soldan's work in Ukraine, saying, "Journalism continues to shine a light in the darkness of this war and Armin's work was vital to that." Ukraine's military said its forces have repulsed 46 attacks in 24 hours along the eastern front in the Donetsk region, including the city of Bakhmut, and carried out 8 strikes on enemy power and personnel, as well as 2 strikes on an anti-aircraft missile system. Russian forces were also reported to be planning to pull out around 2,700 workers from the town that serves the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Ukraine's state-owned Energoatom company has warned of a potentially catastrophic lack of qualified personnel at the facility should the plans go ahead. Workers who signed employment contracts with Russia's nuclear agency Rosatom following Moscow's capture of the Zaporizhzhia plant early in the war were set to be taken to Russia along with their families, Energoatom said in a Telegram post. In Russia, Moscow's military has claimed it has thwarted drone attacks in 2 regions bordering Ukraine.